All right. So it looks like we're diving into the world of AR glasses today. And not just any glasses. We're talking about Meta's super secret Orion project.
Yeah, it's gotten everyone buzzing.
I've got a ton of articles about it. Meta's official announcement, all those live blogs from MetaConnect 2024, even The Verge got some hands-on time with
hmm
Zuckerberg himself.
It's definitely more than just hype, though. Meta's aiming high here, like really high. They're talking about replacing your smartphone completely.
Whoa, hold on. Are we going full sci-fi mode already?
hmm
I mean, Zuckerberg actually called Orion the Holy Grail
hmm
device, but is that realistic? Are we
Yeah.
really going to ditch our phones for glasses anytime soon?
That's the big question, right?
Right.
What's interesting to me, though, is how Meta is trying to kind of leapfrog over both smartphones and those clunky VR headsets.
Right.
And Orion seems to be tackling some of those big challenges head on, you know? For example, The Verge really emphasized how these actually look and feel like, well, normal
Oh,
glasses.
that's huge because, let's be honest, nobody wants to walk around looking like they've got a computer strapped to their face.
Hmm.
But how do they even make AR glasses look like regular glasses?
It's all about the lenses.
Okay.
Orion uses these things called silicon carbide lenses, and let's just say they're really hard and really expensive to make right now. But the payoff is that they're way more transparent than the lenses they used before,
Mm-hmm.
which is super important if you want that seamless AR experience,
Yeah.
right?
Right, so that's the secret sauce. Transparency is key. But seeing the world clearly, that's just one piece of the puzzle. What about the actual field of view? Weren't early AR glasses known for that super narrow tunnel vision kind of thing?
You're right. That was a big issue.
Yeah.
And it's another area where this Orion seems to be making a significant jump. They're claiming a 70-degree field of view, which is
Okay, and that's
way wider than most of the AR glasses that are out there. I think those are usually stuck around 50 degrees or something.
okay.
But basically, the wider the field of view, the more of that augmented world you're actually seeing around you. So it just feels more immersive, less like you're just looking through this tiny window.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so those are some tech specs even I can get behind. But
Yeah.
what good is a wider view if you're stuck using those clunky hand controllers like we've seen on those older VR setups?
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck with those.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really cool with Orion. Instead of using those clunky controllers, they're really focusing on using hand and eye tracking to create that more natural, intuitive experience.
Right.
So imagine like reaching out and interacting with these virtual objects just by moving your hands or, scrolling through menus just with a glance.
Wow.
Yeah, and the hand tracking, apparently it's working in conjunction with, get this, a neural wristband.
Oh, now you're just teasing us with the future.
We'll dive into that a little bit later, though.
Okay. Let's move on to what these glasses can actually do. Okay, so we've talked about how Orion looks and feels different, the sleek design, the crazy transparency, that wider field of view. But now I want to know what you can actually deal with these things. Like, what's the killer app that's going to make us all ditch our phones and, like, fully embrace the whole AR life?
Right, that's the million-dollar question, right?
So-
And I think this is where those demos you sent really come into play because anyone can, talk about specs and features, but seeing it in action,
Right.
that's what really gets people excited.
Naturally. And speaking of exciting, did you see that The Verge actually made a video call using Orion?
Oh, yeah.
Like full-on video chat, but you're wearing what look like regular glasses? I still can't get over that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And according to The Verge, the call quality was actually really impressive.
Wow.
We do have to remember, though, I mean, these are those early, very controlled demos, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be, interesting to see how this kind of tech actually performs out in the real world with all the, distractions and hiccups and everything else.
Right, of course.
Right.
Good point. Still, though, it's easy to get caught up in the possibilities here. Like, imagine never having to, like, dig your phone out of your pocket again.
Yeah.
You could just be walking down the street and Meta AI,
Ah.
like, pops up in your field of vision to give you directions or answer a question or even just pull up that smoothie recipe you were looking for.
Totally. It's all about that seamless integration with, your daily life, right? That smoothie recipe thing, I mean, that's like the perfect example of how Meta actually envisions this, Orion working, right?
Yeah.
Hands-free access to all the information and, assistance you need just kind of overlaid onto the world in real time.
Okay, see, now that's straight out of like a futuristic cooking show. No more like smudged phone screens when you're trying to follow a recipe.
Exactly.
I'm sold. Where do I sign up? But what about like staying connected with people? Can you do, the usual messaging and like social media stuff through Orion?
So they did show off some, hands-free texting and calling features, but there is a bit of
Okay.
a twist. It looks like instead of seeing the actual person you're talking to, you get their like personalized avatar. At least for now.
Avatars instead of like real faces. I don't know how I feel about that. It seems a little, I don't know, impersonal maybe. Like it kind of takes away from the whole being present aspect of a conversation.
Yeah, no, I totally see your point. It's definitely a trade-off. They are apparently working on kind of improving the realism of the avatars.
Yeah, right.
But it definitely raises some interesting questions about privacy and how comfortable we are with this whole like augmented interaction. Right?
For sure. Okay, so we've got video calls, AI assistants, even a bit of gaming. I remember that demo with Zuckerberg playing Pong. It seems like Meta is really trying to like cover all the bases with what Orion can do.
Right.
But you did mention earlier that these are, early prototypes. So what are the downsides? What are the things that are holding Orion back from being, ready for prime time?
Well, for starters, battery life seems to be a major hurdle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The current prototypes only last for like about 2 hours of continuous use, which...
Yeah, it's not going to cut it.
No, definitely not enough for most people's daily needs.
Right.
And then there's the, the cost factor.
Yeah, that's the other elephant in the room, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those silicon carbide lenses might be, incredible for transparency, but they don't sound cheap to produce.
No, not at all. That Verge article mentioned that each Orion prototype costs, get this, $10,000 to manufacture.
$10,000?
Yeah.
For one pair of glasses?
Yeah, those lenses are the main culprit for that price tag.
Yeah.
So, while the technology is, obviously mind-blowing, it's not exactly accessible to the average consumer just yet.
Okay, so maybe ditching my phone for a pair of Orion glasses is not happening anytime soon. But, Meta wouldn't be talking about all of this so publicly if they weren't planning to make these things more affordable eventually, right?
Oh, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Meta's stated goal is to have like a consumer-ready version of Orion on the market by 2027.
Yeah, that's the goal.
So they're hoping that as the technology gets better and production scales up, the cost of those silicon carbide lenses will come down.
Right, hopefully significantly.
2027.
Yeah?
That's really not that far off when you think about it.
No, it's not.
Still makes you wonder, though, like, why is Meta so gung-ho about replacing our phones with these glasses in the first place?
Well,
what's the bigger picture here?
In a word, control. Zuckerberg has actually been pretty vocal about, not wanting Meta to be at the mercy of Apple and Google and their app stores.
Right.
Remember, whoever controls, like, that dominant computing platform, they have a lot of power.
Right.
And right now, that's smartphones, which is, dominated by Apple and Google.
So if Orion actually takes off, Meta then becomes the gatekeeper.
Exactly.
They control the platform, the apps, the whole ecosystem.
Exactly.
No more playing by someone else's rules.
Which is, a pretty tantalizing prospect for a company like Meta, especially with all those challenges, they've had with data privacy and all those antitrust issues.
Right.
But we also have to remember that they're not the only ones in this race, right?
Right. There's Apple with their Vision Pro headset. There's Snap with their AR spectacles. Even Google's trying to, get in on the augmented reality action.
Yeah, it's a crowded field.
It's a crowded field.
Yeah.
So does Meta actually have what it takes to win this thing?
That's a good question. I think, it's a good reminder that in the tech world especially, like, no outcome is guaranteed.
Right.
It's not just about building some, cool new gadget. It's about actually getting people to use it.
User adoption.
Right.
Right, that's key. Convincing people that they need AR glasses in their lives.
Exactly.
And not just tech enthusiasts, but, like, everyday people.
Exactly. Like finding that, what do they call it, the killer app, that one use case that's just so good. People are like, I have to have these.
Yeah.
And I think that's still the big unknown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. We're left with more questions than answers at this point. Will Meta actually be able to overcome all the tech challenges? Will they be able to convince us to actually ditch our phones for glasses? I don't know.
Yeah. And will they be able to, outmaneuver the Apples and Googles of the world in this, like, race to dominate this whole augmented reality landscape?
It's a lot to think about.
It really is. It's really fascinating, though.
It is exciting.
Yeah. It's like we're witnessing, this potentially revolutionary technology kind of being born right in front of us.
It's true.
Yeah.
And it's like exciting, but also a little bit unnerving at the same time, right? Like thinking about a future where AR is just as common as smartphones are now.
Right. How would that even work?
How would that change our lives?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, there are just so many possibilities, both, positive and potentially negative.
Right.
Imagine a world where you can, access any information, connect with people, even like experience shared entertainment. And it's all just seamlessly integrated with your surroundings. But, the flip side is that there's also, that potential for distraction, information overload, maybe even like new forms of, social division because of it.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we do here on the Deep Dive, right? We explore those possibilities, but then we also talk about the, potential downsides and hopefully leave you with some things to think about.
Exactly. Because this technology, it's not just something that happens to us. We actually get to kind of shape it with our choices and our expectations and our willingness to kind of engage with these possibilities, right?
So what do you think? Are you excited about the prospect of AR glasses being a normal thing in our everyday lives? Do you share some of the concerns we've been talking about? Head over to social media and let us know what really stuck out to you from this deep dive on Meta's Orion project. It's a conversation that's just getting started, and we want to hear from you.